We believe there's never been a challenge that the American people, with as little interference as possible by the federal government, cannot handle. We believe that rugged individualism and freedom are the timeless virtues which have made America the greatest country in the history of the world. We believe America is never stuck. We believe that an endless series of government expansions, bailouts, stimulus packages, and bloated budgets will take our country down the very path that European socialism has already stumbled. And we believe that it is a dangerous path that could harm the very promise of America. We believe in freedom, and we must articulate that philosophy boldly every single day. But there's more that we must do. As Republicans, we must do more than argue a philosophy. We must offer solutions. We must demand both competence and excellence in government. As a fiscal conservative, I don't want to see government expand and do many things, but what government does, it must do well. I live in a state that in 2005 saw what happens when government doesn't perform well. So what government does, it must do well. On health care, we must fight the inertia of miring down into an argument on whether health care is a right or is a privilege. We as a party are better than that. We should focus our energy on improving the health care every single American gets. And let's be clear. Our Republican Party ought to be the home of meaningful health care reform. Our system often offers the very best health care in the entire world when it rewards and stimulates ingenuity. Let's also admit there are things that need to be improved in our health care system. Years ago, the CEO of the Mayo Clinic counted over 100,000 pages just in the Medicare program. Indeed, the American Hospital Association did a study saying in some settings, nurses spend an hour filling out paperwork for every hour they provide care. Tens of millions of Americans, many of them working Americans, and families with jobs can't afford basic health insurance, end up in our emergency rooms. We have a system clogged with paperwork. We have a system clogged with frivolous lawsuits. We can do better than this. We must have more incentives for new healthcare technology. We believe in the power of the individual. Let's lead a modernization of the entire delivery system. Let's put the individual patient at the center of every policy. That's the fundamental difference. We want patients and providers, not government bureaucrats running our healthcare system. That means insisting on electronic, portable patient records for all. It means reforming our insurance system so we're not just prepaying for health care. It means more organized purchasing coalitions to offer economies of scale. It means reforming our tax code to give people the ability and the incentive to save towards catastrophic, unpredictable health care expenses. It means putting an emphasis on primary and preventative care. In other words, it means making every individual a smarter consumer of both health care and insurance. It means rewarding wellness and fitness. It has to mean getting rid of the inefficient bureaucracy, both public and private, that makes health care too expensive. This is the debate we must have. We must not allow the other side to drag us towards a single-payer, government-run health care system that simply expands inefficient bureaucracy, but rather, we can't also defend the status quo. We must insist that every American gets the health care we know we're capable of delivering. On education, we must summon the moral courage, confront the unjust system that the other party desperately clings to and therefore perpetuates. The left hasn't had an original idea on education since the invention of the chalkboard. Our party believes in education reform. We've nurtured a sincere education reform movement. We know the current system is broken for too many of our children. We all believe it. Everybody knows the dirty little secret of education in America. The idea that all children, regardless of class, geography, income, or any other factor, the idea that all children deserve and have a right to equal opportunity in education, that idea is not a reality in America today. And that is a shame. We must have the fortitude to win the political battles it will take to make fundamental changes in our schools, to allow for new ideas, to allow parents to have more meaningful choices, to break from the old model and move to a new model which demands equal opportunity in education. This isn't about jobs. It's not about government monopolies. Our children only get to grow up once. It is simply unfair to tell them to wait while we tinker around the edges, while we make incremental reforms. This is about more choice for parents. It's about discipline in schools. It's about rewarding and paying appropriately good teachers. This is about making sure that every child has access to a great education in America. On energy, we must be the party of yes, the party of bottom-line answers, while the Democrats lurch more and more towards being a party of dogma. As Republicans, we must embrace the clean energy options of the future. Clean, green, sustainable energy is not a partisan issue, it's an American issue. It'll make us more independent, more responsible, and we should seek that outcome. But unlike the Democrats, we shouldn't be willing to wait on clean energy alone. We need our bridge, and that bridge will be built on domestically produced energy, on nuclear energy, other energy that's available to us today. We'll never get to that green future if we insist as a country on destroying America's energy industry through ridiculous taxes and regulations. We must insist. We must insist on making maximum use of every American energy source. That means a commitment to exploration and research on oil and gas, as well as a commitment to nuclear energy, doing everything in our power to make Americans as strong and as independent as we can. It's simple. When it comes to looking for more solutions to our energy needs, our answer needs to be yes to all of the above. The Democrats want to pursue half the options and limit the rest. Let them have that terrain. We are the party of yes, the party that wants to explore every option. And on ethics, every national Republican victory in my lifetime has been inextricably wed to a reform movement in our party. 1980, 1984, 1994, 2000, 2004. When we are the party the voters judge to be the most committed to cleaning up Washington and restoring honesty and integrity to government, we win. Let's be clear. We came to Washington to change Washington, not to be captured by Washington. When the voters are confused about which party will bring reform and change, we lose. When the party of the outsiders becomes the party of insiders defending the status quo, we rightfully lose elections. We must vow to each other that we will never again tolerate poor ethics in the highest levels of our government or the highest levels of American business. We know the difference between right and wrong. We have to be strong enough to stand up and say so. Now, in the short time I have left, I want to comment directly on the latest gotcha game I've noticed occurring in Washington today. It's a game the left has been playing and that some in the media have gone along with. I've noticed that some of your Democratic colleagues in Congress have been badgering Republican leaders with the following question. Anytime you criticize the president, the administration, or his proposals, they ask, so do you want the president to fail? Do you? Yes or no? Well, I'm going to give you a very direct answer to that question in just a minute. I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm going to be very direct. But first, let's look at this question, the motive behind it and what's really afoot here. The suggestion behind this question, do you want the president to fail, is this. If you don't answer that question with a loud no immediately, if you don't express instant obedience to the question, then they're trying to suggest you're not really a patriot. They're essentially saying that you're trying to undermine America. Make no mistake. Anything other than an immediate, a compliant, why no, sir, I don't want the president to fail, is treated as some act of treason, civil disobedience, or political obstructionism. This is political correctness run amok. Let's be clear. The very Democratic leaders who are now asking this phony question are the ones who for so long wanted to see the last president fail, regardless of the issue, regardless of whether he was right or wrong.